Hello and welcome to Us's Lounge. I want to thank you for your support. I want to thank you for taking some time to listen to my blogs. I hope that Us's Lounge has been refreshing. We just concluded the epiphanies of rebirth. I walked you through my journey, um, the darkness, how I actually ended up there in the darkness, and how it was consuming. And we ended off last time with the confrontation, where I had to face my darkscape and confront it. But before that, before we start today's session and talk about what happens after I had to confront my darkscape, I would like you to like, subscribe, and share this content with your friends and loved ones. Because I think they might be interested or they might find it fascinating. They might be going through a similar situation, depression, mental challenges, and this might show them that they're not alone and they can fall all the way rock bottom and still potentially rise, just like I believe I have. And I'm going to walk you through Breathe In, Breathe Out, our new chapter where I find the light, hope, and life changes for me. So today we're speaking about Let There Be Light. That was the first episode in the series Breathe In, Breathe Out. Speaking about breathe in, breathe out, I chose breathe in, breathe out because when we in a very stressed environment, we're told to pause, we're told to breathe, right? Get oxygen into our system and let out carbon dioxide. And that actually helps us calm down. And it's just life. Breathing is life. So the darkness was consuming and leading to the dark world and to death and destruction. But breathing in and breathing out kind of tells us there's hope, there's life at the end of the tunnel. So back to Let There Be Light. We spoke about last week, we spoke about the confrontation. And if you recall, I faced my darkscape, and my darkscape was basically my landscape that was full of darkness, consumed in darkness. It was my inner darkness. Yes, it wasn't a darkness that was outward because obviously there's light all around us, but it was actually consuming inside of me. And inside there, it was dark, it was dangerous. I was consumed. My shadow self had fully erupted. I was sitting in the silences of my despair. And I had to face the darkness and confront it with a healing balm of compassion and the lamp of honesty. And yeah, maybe there was hope. Maybe all hope was not lost. Maybe all things that were falling apart could actually lead to a transformation. My wasteland, this darkscape I was living in, was embodied by frustration, by bitterness, by anger, regret, and isolation. But now, sitting in that and confronting my darkness, my darkscape, this landscape that was a wasteland, as we've spent a lot of time walking through over the last few weeks, the dark land I lived in, the darkscape, or the darkness I was consumed in. Have you ever craved so desperately for a beam of light, despite it always being there? Because there's always light physically present, whether in the cosmos, there's sunlight in the day, there's moonlight at night, and then we also have man-made light fixtures. I'm sitting in here and there's a light above me, there's a lamp there, there's light. So sitting in this dark place, this darkness, this darkscape, but realizing that there's light all around me, always, but I couldn't feel the light. I couldn't see it. How does that even translate. Light is always around us, and like the art of breathing, the seamless art of breathing, we don't think about breathing, it just happens, right? So, light, because it's all around us always, it should be a constant in our lives, right? Wouldn't you admit? Our energy should be radiating from our ever present light source. But amidst all these light sources around me, I was confoundingly absorbed in thick darkness. For a whole season, my season lasted as long as 4 years. I neither saw or felt light within or without. I begged, I cried, and I prayed, let there be light. You will see the images in this blog article, let there be light. The images, I'm praying, I'm begging, I'm crying, let there be light. Because I was sick. It's been 4 years, 4 whole years plus. A whole season of my life has been wasted. I've been deep in depression. I've been consumed by my shadow self. And this made me think when I thought, let there be light, and I was crying and begging for this light, it took me back to the story, the biblical story of creation. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 to 4, it states, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. Let there be light, God said. And there was light. And wait for it. And God saw the light, that it was good. Light is good. And the best part is God divided the light from the darkness. So light and darkness was separated. So you can have light, if I'm interpreting that correctly, or you can have darkness. But God, He created the world, heaven, earth, and He spoke light. God spoke light into the darkness, and He separated it, gave us day and gave us night. But throughout this season of 4+ years, I wondered if the biblical story of creation was all a fallacy. Because obviously, I hadn't seen light, the light that was all around me, apparently. Throughout this season, I wondered. And by the way, I was brought up in a very religious home, a Christian background. I was born and bred with the Bible. That was the center, the focus of my life. My whole upbringing was about, I spent most of my life at church. But when you start to think, it's all a fallacy. The biblical story, the Bible, and especially the story of creation, 7 days of creation, and the God dividing the light from the darkness. And He said, let there be light. So I had to also pray that and say, let there be light, because the darkness was consuming and it had been too long. It felt like an eternity. And with the deadness of light and the constant presence of darkness all around me, I began to ask the very crucial question, what is light? I had to ask that crucial question. From my research, yes, it sounds like we all know what light is. We don't have to actually ask the question. But light, my discovery, there are different concepts of light and different perspectives. But from what I've gathered, firstly, light is a biological, perceptual, and psychological indicator of our location and time at any given moment. So, without light, we don't know where we are. We can't tell the time. So, light is crucial in our lives. There's another definition of light, another concept of light is light is the channel via which we comprehend our physical position in the world. Is the channel via which we comprehend our physical position. So, if there was no daylight, sunlight, if there was no moonlight, if there were no physical fixtures of light around us, we wouldn't be able to tell where we are. And we're not like some animals who see clearly in the dark, so we'll be lost in this world. And that just goes to say how lost I was in the darkness. Light also explores the link between geometry, music, space, and time, and it depicts the moving frontiers of knowing and existence. The answer to my question finally came. My question, what is light? And the cry and prayer, let there be light. It eventually came with a personal revelation. Hallelujah, somebody. It came eventually after 4+ years. That personal revelation came in the form of two divine senses. Beyond my five physical senses, we all have our physical senses, five of them. I don't have to tell you what they are. But my sixth and seventh sense will become more important than my five physical senses. My sixth sense is mental perception. And the seventh sense is spiritual understanding. These two senses, these newfound senses of mine, are more important than the physical senses. And over the next few episodes, we'll unpack that. But these newfound senses of mine opened a perspective that allowed me to appreciate the light that has surrounded me all along. This light had been there all along, but I couldn't appreciate it. I was caught up in a dark hole in my mind, absent to all the light sources around me. But these two newfound senses, mental perception and spiritual understanding, they will allow me to appreciate light. The light all around me. I would see clearly. My mental perception would be opened and help me discover all the hidden dimensions of my mind that I was trapped in, along with an understanding of its essence and how to reflect it outwardly in order to illuminate the lives of other people. When you have light, you can't hide it. It's so difficult to conceal light because it's light. It tells our physical position. It depicts the moving frontiers of knowing and existence. Without light, we wouldn't know, we wouldn't have civilization. If fire wasn't invented, we can't tell distance. I mean, the first form of light was fire. I mean, eating, like, we would have died of malnutrition, would have been extinct by now because we can't preserve food, we can't kill the bacteria in food. Like light, we can't see, civilization wouldn't exist, we'll still be in the Stone Age, or worse than that, we'll still be hunter-gatherers in the wild, in the jungle. So light can't be hidden. And these new senses of mine will open up a new dimension to the essence of light. And it will help me reflect that light. Because light is supposed to be reflected, to reflect it outwardly and illuminate the lives of other people. In this form, in telling you my story, And then the epiphanies of rebirth will come through following the breathe in, breathe out, where I found light, and the lessons from my path, my journey, where it leads me to, will give me some epiphanies, because I'll be reborn into a new person, into a new, yes, the same body, but a new spirit, a new soul, a stronger person. You come out stronger, you come out wiser. So, my prayer and cry for you today, reflected in my images, is that each and every one of us also seek to preserve our inner light. Because I haven't been speaking about the external light, because the external light is obviously there, but inside is the light in us that is the most important. And my cry, going back to my cry and prayer for us, every one of us, is that we preserve our inner light firstly, and even better, let it shine outward. Till next time, like, subscribe, share, ponder on these concepts, ponder on the concept of light, ponder on the two newfound senses that I got, if it makes any sense to you, or we unpack it, but we will unpack it in the next few episodes. Till next time, take care. I leave you with a huge light bulb. I leave you with lots of love. I leave you with peace and tranquility. Till next time, bye bye.